You be willing to meet with Kim Jong-un?
We have a potentially very bad situation that we will meet in the toughest of all manners if we have to do that. If it would be appropriate for me to meet with him, I would be honored to do it. If it's under the, again, under the right circumstances. But I would do that.
So, Jed, is that the president trying to be his very diplomatically best here, or what's going on?
Beats me. I'm trying to figure out what kind of circumstances. He did hedge a little bit. Yes. He didn't say, oh, yes, I want to meet with the guy. So he's basically saying, under the right circumstances, I do it. Frankly, there are no such circumstances that can possibly occur. If we end up negotiating with them by the president or by Tillerson or by anybody else, we would at this stage be giving in to their belligerence, their threats, and frankly, caving in. So he can't do that without giving up a lot more than he can.
Yeah, no, and Kim Jong-un has not left North Korea ever that we're aware of. And I don't think President Trump is going to fly himself into enemy territory for any such meeting. And Sean Spicer did yesterday at the news conference, the daily news briefing, say it's not likely, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I don't want to turn our attention away from North Korea, because you wrote a piece about it. We should be very afraid of North Korea. The title is Admiral Harris, Be Very Afraid of North Korea. Why'd you write the piece, and why should we be afraid, do you think?
Well, I really don't want to say that we should be afraid. I was writing about Admiral Harry Harris's testimony in the Senate a week or so ago, right, where he said that the crisis in northern Korea is the worst he's ever seen, that Kim Jong-il is matching his rhetoric to his technology, and pretty soon he's going to have the capability of launching nuclear-tipped missiles at the United States. So what I'm basically saying is we've got to pay very close attention, because Harry Harris is not somebody to run around with his hair on fire. This is a guy who's a very great professional. He's commander of Pacific Command. He's a 4-star admiral. And when we hear things like that from him, we bloody well better take it seriously.
I agree, except that over the weekend, North Korea was supposed to test a missile, and the test reportedly failed. So I can understand it. The admiral's paid to be very serious and to not make mistakes and not reassure people, but in fact warn people. But do you think, in your estimation, based on what you've seen, North Korea actually has real capability that we should be concerned about?
Well, they're developing it. They don't have it right this minute, but they're developing things like submarine-launched cruise missiles and submarine-launched ballistic missiles. That clearly has as its aim delivering those missiles into the United States. So we have to pay attention. We have to use whatever deterrent forces we have. We have to do things like cyber attacks against their missile launches and nuclear tests to the extent we have that capability. If we don't have that capability, we bloody well ought to be developing it. So we need to do a lot of things. And again, I'm not saying we need to be scared against these guys, but this is going to be a major player in the nuclear game, and unless we stop them from doing so. So we've got to take it very seriously, and we've got to really pay attention.
Speaking of things developing, we have an anti-missile defense system known as THAAD, Thermal High Altitude Defense System, that's in South Korea. Do you think it is capable of defending against North Korean missiles in your estimation, or what you're hearing?
Well, yeah, the Terminal High Altitude Anti-Air System, the THAAD system, has an enormous capability. The problem is, like with any anti-missile system, right now they all rely on launching separate missiles to counter an enemy missile. So if you have 100 defensive missiles and the other guy has 101 attacking missiles, you lose. The question is, how many do we have? How many do they have? How are we going to be able to stop their attack? It's certainly going to blunt their capability, but it's not going to totally eliminate it.